Hey Jeanette. Okay, sorry I didn't do the video earlier. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you using this thing called the chore challenge. This was a little project that at Redix they were doing. But you know what? Okay, so before I do that, let me just check the email really quick just to make sure I got all the details. Oh wait, no, that's your email from the other. Um, okay, so it's a Google drawing. Okay, so I think, yeah, 480 by 300. Yeah, that's actually perfect. Okay, so the thing that I wanted to show you, so using that other Google drawing, let me go into the course using that chore challenge thing. So what the chore challenge thing was is it was what they wanted to do was let me close this thing out. There it goes. Okay, so the kids, so they were going to have kids, they were going to challenge each other by doing like a number of chores. So again, this is at Redix, right? So when student one, did their chore, whatever, or the score, like if they on a 5-day week, they did it on Monday and Tuesday, so then they got it to, this student did it all 5 days. So that's kind of how this, so the numbers accumulate and then it does the chart. And this is what was going to be online, and they can kind of monitor their progress of who's like ahead, right? So then this chart, what I did is on the little drop down, this chart was published. Okay, so then they embedded, actually I went over here to, so this one is what they embedded into the Schoology page so the kids could kind of measure their progress. So when it's embedded, it gives like an automatic, let me highlight the part, so like the width and the height right there, the pixels. So it does that automatically, it sizes it, and this size right here is the size that it is right now. So like if I minimized it like that, then it'll it'll redo the pixel sizes, so that way it's that size. So now this iframe link, right? So if we were to copy this one and then paste it in, go into this one, paste it into like Schoology, and I was messing with it right now. So like this is that one, the core challenge, the one that's published where the kids can see. If sometimes like you would think that it works kind of like a hyperlink, where if I resized it in the original one like this, I made it really small, that it would automatically resize it here, but it doesn't. It's really weird, because like, let's see, this one is, let me get the sizes again. It was 278 by 184, and I'm going to write it down because I might forget. So right now it's 278 by 184, and if I go back over here and I go into the edit, okay, so when I'm in here, and this is like a really long-winded answer to the question, so I'll show you what I usually do. Let me, what the heck's it doing? Okay, so when I go into the HTML, so it has the, it has the last sizes. So the sizes it used to be are the ones that stick. So it doesn't update. So now, okay, so that being said, if I was to put the new sizes in here right now, the 278 and 184, okay, save it. It's going to change it the way it looks here. So if it's too small, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So right now it's in that 278 by 184C, and it, like, you can't see anything on there. Even if the student was like in a different kind of device, and then if they were to click inside of it, they wouldn't be able to see it either, because it's just that little small chunk. So then you could actually go and edit this by, I just clicked, I went back into it and it does that yellow box. So if you click on it one time, it turns blue, and then it gives us the little markers like this. So if you just left click and then drag it and resize it, it'll resize the box, right? So now I'm gonna hit save, but then, yeah, and then we can see more of the data. So as you can tell, like over here, it's still kind of cut off on the side. So I might want to edit again, but this time I'm just gonna, and then click on it once. I'm just gonna stretch out the width so that way it catches that last little chunk. Okay, so now we can see all the students, so we're good here. Now the thing with that, so it looks good when they're inside of it. I'm gonna go back up to the timeline so you can see what it does. Okay, so yeah, it resizes it here also, but then like you can see right here, it still cuts it off, like it only goes to student, like half of student 18. That's just the way this is, the embed. Like you can't do anything about this right there. Oops, go back out. I clicked on it by accident. Come on. So the size of how it shows up in Schoology, that's yeah, you can't do anything with that. There is, if Schoology, and that's on Schoology's end, and the reason why I know that is because I pulled up this little link right here. Schoology has let's see what it is right here. You can't resize, can't print anything in iframes because the contextual menus, those are disabled in Schoology. Okay, now that means we don't have access to what's called the CSS, the cascading style sheets and all that stuff, to be able to tell it to resize it. So it's a Schoology thing that you can't resize it more, at least not here. But when the students click, inside of it, then they can. There it goes. So this is what I was expecting it to do. It changed it back. So even though I went into the edit and resized it huge like this, right? That's what I was hoping it did. It changed it back small because that's how it is over here. Yeah, that's how it is over here. So maybe it could be, if it's the Google drawing, maybe she just has to change the size. So I'm going to make it really big. So I made this big so that way it shows all the students, and you could actually like resize it to where it's just the right size. Okay, right there it's too small. And right here's the point where it shows everybody, but it's still kind of jumbled. I'd probably make it just a little bit bigger. So then this size right here, once Schoology updates, so it does take a little bit of time for this to change. It will automatically change into this dimension here. So what I was thinking was the if the dimensions are right in the Google drawing, and maybe I should have did an example of Google drawing. I'll do one in a little bit of a Google drawing. See, it changed it back to the small. So we just got to give it a couple of minutes for it to get a little bit bigger. And so in the meantime, while this resizes, I'm going to do a Google drawing. Okay, so I'm going to pause this recording right now. The drawing sample. Okay, so I did, I just put some text here, square, and that little call out box at the bottom. Okay, so now to do this, when I go to File, Publish to the Web, so here I think is what's probably gonna get in the way. So the one that you had mentioned, the dimensions 480 by 300, yeah, that's a really good size. Here, so if it's medium, that's already too big. So this one, the small size, is good because 480 by 300, yeah, 480 by 360. I mean, that's actually, I think that's actually going to fit perfectly. Okay, so then we'll publish, and yeah, we sure do. And then, so there's the hyperlink, but I'm going to embed it. So then, again, so when I click on embed, it defaults to medium, but I'm going to go into small. Okay, so here's the small size. And then just to make sure, yeah, here it is. So 480 by 360. Okay, so then let me copy this. It's already published. And then I'm going to go back into Schoology, and this thing hasn't resized yet. Let me refresh it. There it goes. Now it just resized. Oh, this is perfect. See how now all the students fit. We have student 20. So that was on the chore challenge, right? So on the chore challenge, by resizing this to where it fits everybody, so the actual size of the image is this right here. All right, so that one came out pretty nice. So the kids can actually see everything here. Okay, but going back to the drawing. Okay, so let's click that, add a page, and then it's loading up. So I'm going to do Google Drawing. And then in here, I'm going to go into the HTML, paste it, and then it still gives me the 480 by 360, which is good. And then display it in line, create, and it should be perfect because it was that 480 by 360, which is that good size. And yeah, so we got the text here, the square, and then that, and then this call out box at the bottom, it's like right on the bottom edge, so it captures everything in here. The now going back into this one, so if we wanted to make this bigger, then go into edit, and then from here I can either, man, this is really slow today. Come on, there it goes. Man, that just took a long time. Oh, and then I even misspelled this right here. Okay, so then I can either tap on it once, right, and then really I don't usually change the height, but the width I do. So from here you can just like drag this out, and see how it kind of messes the dimensions up, but I think it actually keeps the dimensions okay. It doesn't distort it. And if it does, it's interesting because some things it doesn't. Yeah, see how it doesn't distort it, but it added more space over here on the side. So usually I do things like that just so that way I know it's going to include everything. Let's see, the other thing, I think it actually made the picture a little bit bigger. Oh, so here it does get distorted, so maybe that probably isn't, I probably wouldn't do that. But if I'm going to go back into the drawing just to see what the dimension, the original dimension was. Okay, so it was originally, oh, see now it even stretched it. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, no, okay, 480 by 360. Go back in here. Yeah, I'd have to change it back. So it does distort it. See, and sometimes it does that, and other times it doesn't. Oh, that is interesting. Okay, so for a Google drawing, the original dimensions stay, but then here, that is very interesting. Okay, here it changed the width. So the box, so it's like embedded inside a box. I did not know, and that only does that with Google Drawings because it doesn't do that with the other one. So once I change that back to 480, it looks back the way it was. So anyways, that's kind of how she can mess with them. Now I've seen people, and I think that might be a good thing because you could actually use the percentages. Let me go back into this. Since this right here is the image, right? That's the link that came from Google, and we already have the dimensions right here. Okay, so if those dimensions stay the way they are, 480 by 360, this one we can, let me see if this will work. If we do 100%, and then it should resize it automatically. So if I come back to my drawing, and then when I publish it, I'm going to change it to large now, 1440 by 1080. And then we'll give it a couple of minutes. Since it got bigger, what I'm interested to see is if it will change this size, but since I changed the frame that it's inside of, if it keeps it to where it doesn't like then bleed over. Because if sometimes when these are too big, they'll go past this line right here and they look ugly. They look messy. But that might be something to do with these Google Drawings. And so I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of time just to kind of see what it does. I'm going to pause the video, and then if it does change, I'll come back in it. So they, yeah, I learned something different. Okay, so what I did here on this third example, I actually went back into that Google Drawing, and then I changed this to the largest size, that third one. And then when I posted it here, even though it was huge, right? So the size is probably like this big, it resizes it, which is pretty cool because it throws it into a frame. That's different. I had never seen that. I guess it only does that with Google Drawings, which is cool. Because then if I go into the Google Drawing, since we're using that large dimension, when I click on it, it's really big. You see, it's big like this. So I guess for the students, then they just have to do a little bit of scrolling. If they're like on an iPad or a on their cell phone, it might be too big and they'll have to like scroll left and right and up and down. So that's probably the only disadvantage. Now, if but displaying it on the materials on the here, I mean, it looks pretty good. Now, the other thing, so like if she wants it to be smaller inside the sheet, then she can just, come back to the drawing file, publish to the web, and then change it to, I'm going to go into the embed one, change it to small, and so that changes the dimensions in here again. So then I'll just copy that, and then go back into Schoology, edit, and then I'm going to give it a little bit of time. HTML. See how big this was, the big size. It was like really big. Okay, so then I'm going to paste the small one in here. Control V, and here's the small dimensions, 480 by 360. I'm going to save it. And so if it's displayed inline, okay, so if it's displayed inline, it doesn't matter whether it's small, medium, or large. It's always going to be the same size right here, which is good because what Schoology does is they throw it inside a frame and the frame reframes it. But if the kids go in here, then that is where the size, where it gets smaller. Okay, and then if she wants to make it like customize this to where it's not Google's, like it's not forced to use this one, these size like 480 by 360 or 960 or 1440. If you want something in between, then inside of it itself, right inside the Google Drawing, go to edit, and then from here just tap one time so it turns blue, and then from here then you could drag and let go, and then it resizes it so it looks different here, right? But in the materials page, it doesn't resize it in. Well, actually, it does resize it in here. I'm learning all kinds of stuff now. So I guess if you do resize it, when you edit, it does change it in here. But it keeps the original dimensions. That's what's interesting. So if it does get like too big right here, she can change it back by just going into edit, and then she could either, once it shows up right in here, come on, there it goes. Once it shows up in here, come on, there it goes. Just tap once, and then she could again, do do this, like drag it and make it smaller, or if she goes into the HTML button, in here she could resize. So it's the second one, because right here is the source, right? The image source, and then here's the website to Google, to the end of the, let's see if I can zoom into it. So it goes to the end of the quotation marks. So opening quotation marks, here's the link, and then ending quotation marks. So here the size is always whatever Google gave us when we copied and pasted it. This is the frame that Schoology adds. So they add this alt dimension, and then in here they put publish, and then the width 480 by 360, and then they give this other one 336 by 225. This is the one that we were dragging and dropping. Okay, I wonder if we could probably change this, because this, what it is it's a frame inside of a frame. Okay, that's kind of what it's doing, and I've only seen that right now with Google Drawings. It doesn't do this with a sheet. Like if I was publishing this one, it doesn't add that extra frame, and I don't think it does it with YouTube either. But that's interesting. Okay, so I learned something new. So I guess if she wants to, she can just drag it, or she can come in here and then reformat these dimensions right here. Okay, and that's pretty much it. This must be like the publish. Since this is still 480 by 360, that's probably why the look of it gets distorted. So like if this was to change, I'm going to put 336 by 252, it might actually not distort it anymore. Okay, I'm going to hit save. And yeah, sorry about the long videos, but okay, it's just interesting. I get into this stuff. It's like really, yeah, see how it kind of, it looks better now. It looks cleaner. So usually it's just that the one time where the dimensions are, but because Schoology adds this inside of a frame, then it's just another matter of tweaking it some more. Okay, right. I hope you found it useful, and I'll talk to you